Hey everyone, welcome back to the Be More Marketing course. In this episode, we're going to be digging into websites and what you should not do with them. So let's get into it. One of the major things that you should not do with your websites is for your visitors to not understand what it is that you do. As soon as your prospects fall on your landing page, they need to be greeted with a headline, a sub-headline, and a visual. And with the headline needs to describe the end benefit your prospect is going to get. Whereas the sub-headline needs to explain what it is more succinctly, what is actually being offered. And then the visual needs to support the proposition statement. So if we look at this website in the example on the right, we can see that the main headline is grow your traffic and customer base. If that's what you're interested in, then you're going to pay this website far more attention than you would do otherwise. And then in the sub headline below, we can see that more context is wrapped around this. So it goes on to say, reach potential customers across the world's most popular websites, engage target audiences naturally while they're reading interesting content. So now, not only do you have the benefit in the main headline, you also have the context around how that benefit will be delivered. And then finally, underneath, we have a visual representation of what that will look like. And we have three things essentially tying in together to create an environment for you to stay engaged with an offer that aligns with your interests. The next thing you don't want to do is you don't want your visitors to not be sure what to do, right? So prospects need to know what to do once they reach your landing page. Your call to action needs to be crystal clear. So are they buying the product? Are they leaving their information for future contact? Are they downloading a free file? If you're putting too many of these elements on one page, this will lead to confusion and will lead to major drop-offs in your website's performance. So for instance, in this example here, we can see in the headline, it says millions of businesses rely on GoToMeeting. And then underneath, it's basically prompting you to start your free 14-day trial to try it out and see if it's something which works for you. Only one simple thing to do. They're not littered with other call to actions, which again will distract them from the main CTA. Another thing that you definitely don't want to happen with your websites is for your websites themselves to be loading too slowly. Pages which takes more than 2 seconds to load don't just lose traffic, but they also lose conversions. Internet users have a very short attention span. However, this is a quick fix. You can use a free use a free tool provided by Google called Page Speed Insights, which reveals the elements on the page taking longer to load, and then you can dig into it and diagnose the issue and then resolve the problem. The next thing is your campaigns leads to the same landing pages. So when we say campaigns, we're really talking about your marketing campaigns, right? Your advertising campaigns. And with this, you need to segment your audiences and drive them to separate landing pages and not drive them all to the same page. So for instance, if you're selling electronics and you've got different categories of products that your business sells, right? You don't want to steer traffic from a marketing campaign dedicated to mobile phones. You don't want to drive them to your homepage, nor do you want to drive people who are interested in, let's say, computers to the homepage either. You want to be driving them specifically to the pages on your website that relates to what they're interested in. So if you're driving mobile traffic users to your website, you want to be driving them to mobile phone related pages on your website, because that's what's most relevant to them. And the same thing with computers. Those who are interested in computers, you want to be driving that traffic to pages related to computers. And obviously it can go even more specific than that. So you might have people interested in particular phones. So maybe someone's interested in an iPhone. You don't want to be driving them to a Samsung page. You want to be driving them to an iPhone page. The more specific the page is in alignment with your traffic's interests, the better the conversions and the better the performance. So the more contextual your landing pages is to their needs, the higher will be the conversion rates. And that is very, very important. Another thing you want to avoid is your landing page lacking visuals. So our brain processes 90% of the information in visual format. Visuals are processed 60,000 times more faster in the brain than textual context. So product images, how-to videos, or quick GIFs makes it easy for the visitor to understand what your business does. Right? So if we look in the illustration, or in the diagram to our right, we can see that 65% of your audience is going to be visual listeners. 93% of human communication is non-verbal. 90% of all information transmitted to our brain is visual. People remember 80% of what they see, whilst only remembering 20% of what it is that they read. So this is very powerful and is very informative when it comes to you actually designing your web pages, or when you're informing what you want your web pages to look like to people who may be designing them for you. So if you look at this example here, we can see that our eyes immediately goes to the bear, right? And then once our eyes go to the bear, we can then give further consideration to what's on the page. So the bear is obviously pointing to the upload HTML button, right? But then you look up and then it says in the headline, helping you build a solid style sheet foundation based on your markup. So all of these things tying together because the image of the bear immediately magnetizes your eyes towards it, right? And then allows you to then consider all the other things on the page as well, right? And as simple as it is extremely powerful, especially when you're driving traffic in the thousands to your web pages. Another thing that you want to avoid is you want your landing page to avoid needing a big commitment from your visitors. You see, not all your landing page visitors are at the same level in the sales funnel. Some may convert immediately, whilst others may need a little bit more nurturing. Most landing pages offer a conversion that demands a bigger commitment from the visitor, resulting in overwhelming and losing them. So for instance, this could be in the shape of them needing to pay a lot of money for something, right? And they may be willing to actually pay that money, but they're just not at the right stage yet. So you're really offering that proposition to them too early. They may just need a little bit more information, or they may actually need to trial the product or service first before they take that leap of faith, right? Which is why you want to look at ways in which you can offer a micro conversion. So these are things like free trial, demos, subscribing to a newsletter. However, it's also important that you keep in mind how these micro conversions add to the bigger picture. So in someone having a free trial or subscribing to a newsletter, how does that then lead them on to becoming paid customers further down the line. But these are all things you need to consider. But at the very least, these micro conversions allow your web visitors or your prospects to at least take that first step that they wouldn't be able to take otherwise. Another thing is that you want to avoid is your landing page design being too cluttered. It's very important that your landing page only has one conversion goal. And as we said before, this is so you don't overwhelm the prospect with too much offers or things needed to choose from. This clutters the landing pages and confuses the visitors. Sadly, over 48% of landing pages commits this sin, which means that if you avoid doing this, you be coming in at a major advantage relative to your competitors. And when you just look at the example on the right, we can see that there's just so much things that's thrown at you. So there's a mega pack, which is up to 50% off. There's another thing there, which is $13 to members. There's a choose your free item. It's just very confusing, right? You really want clarity on your landing pages. So when people land on them, their focus is streamlined, right? Otherwise, you're just going to confuse them and they're going to jump off and then go to a competitor who makes it far more simpler for them to understand. And an example of a very simple and focused landing pages is Adobe Photoshop in this example here. As you can see here, the headline is very clear. The sub-headline is very clear. You have an image which draws your attention in, right? And then at the bottom, it has a very clear sales proposition. So you can get Photoshop for just $20 a month. And then you just click the button there to choose the plan which best applies to you. And very simple, very clear. And this is very important. You know, there's not too much thinking. You're not having to deal with all the competition that's on the page. It's very clear what is required and what is on offer here. And it's very important that you follow examples like this so you make it as easy for your visitors as possible. Another thing that you want to avoid is having a lack of trust elements on your page. So your business loses credibility if there aren't any trust elements on your site. So visitors want to see, social proof that your product does what it says that it does. And this helps to make prospects make quicker decisions. And this can just be in the form of a few testimonials, features in popular publications, or ratings shared by customers, right? And if you look in the example on the right, you can just see an example of this. And it's just simple, but very effective, and this definitely helps if you're engaging with prospects who've never dealt with your company before or never heard of your company before. This just gives them that extra layer of confidence that they're making the right decision in moving forward with you, right? So please, where you can, look to find positive customer feedback to help your website to come across more trustworthy. And finally, the last thing that you want to avoid is having a disconnect between the ad and the landing page. And this is one of the main reasons landing pages perform poorly. Promising one thing in your ad and then providing something completely different on the landing page is only going to make you lose business. There has to be consistency between what you use to draw their attention and what you're going to use to convert them, right? So if, for instance, you ring up, let's say you go on Amazon and then you want to buy a table, right? But then Amazon come next day and they deliver a chair. You're not going to be really happy because you didn't get what you want, or you didn't get what you were expecting. And that's the same thing in this scenario, right? You want to ensure that what people are going to be sent to aligns with what it is you promised them in the first place. Because otherwise, you're just going to build up a whole lot of ill will and have people lose faith and trust in your website and in your business. And once that happens, it's not going to reverse, and they're not going to come back to buy your products and services. And that's very, very, very important. Hey there, thanks again for watching. If you have any questions relating to what we've covered in this episode, or if you feel you need further assistance in creating a marketing campaign or developing a marketing and business strategy, then you can either message us on Instagram at BeMoreNetwork, and you can find our tag or our handle at the bottom of the screen, or you can email us on info@bemorenetwork.com, and we'll make sure to respond promptly to any requests. Cool. I look forward to hearing from you. Peace.